Welcome to the Happy Disruptors podcast. If you're a creative thinker with an unconventional approach to your industry, you just might be a happy disruptor. Join your friends at the Great Outdoors Foundation for honest conversations about tackling critical issues like conservation with an uncritical disposition. If you like to smile and get things done, this is the podcast for you.
Hello and welcome to the Happy Disruptors podcast. I'm Katie Hartman, and today I am joined by two of our very esteemed board members. We're actually kicking off a series we're calling Meet the Board, where we will highlight members of the board of directors each week. We're really fortunate to have just a fantastic bunch of individuals who support the work and mission of the Great Outdoors Foundation. So without further ado, Mr. Gene Meyer, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Gene Meyer. I'll kind of break this into segments and try to keep it brief. Family-wise, married 50 years this last month.
Congratulations.
3 children, 5 grandchildren. Professionally, I spent most of my career in the Iowa Department of Public Safety and the state's Division of Criminal Investigation, where I started as an agent and completed my tenure there as director and head of the agency. I left there and came back at the governor's request to run the state's Department of Public Safety, which includes the State Patrol and other divisions, about 1,200 people. And then during that time, I got involved in my community, started coaching Little League and doing different things. Yeah. Someone convinced me to run for the Board of Education School Board in West Des Moines, so I did that. Served 3 terms, 60 of those years as chairman of the board. Then somebody came to me and said, "You should need to be mayor of West Des Moines." I thought, really? So I ran for mayor of West Des Moines and ended up doing that for almost 12 years. Yeah. And so that's a little bit about me. And in the meantime, I served on several different boards and commissions just by virtue of being on the school board or being mayor of the community.
Yeah. Excellent. Just a very short resume. Nothing too fancy,
nothing
right?
elaborate at all. Very simple.
So glad to have you here, Gene.
Thank you.
And a returning guest, Chris Costa. Tell us a little bit about yourself for those who aren't familiar.
Well, first of all, I met Gene when he was mayor of West Des Moines, and he was very helpful to our organization over the years, so we appreciated that relationship. But Chris Costa, I am president and CEO of Knapp Properties, and I've been with Knapp for about 28 years now. Enjoy real estate, and we focus mostly on central Iowa. A lot of stuff in West Des Moines. Wife and 3 kids are all adults now, no grandchildren, which is really hitting me right here at the current time, but looking forward to that. And I do like to give back to the community, so I do. I have some organizations, community-wise, civic-wise, that I have chosen to help out, and Great Outdoors is one of them I've been associated with for 6 years now, and I'm current chair of the board.
Excellent. Well, thank you both for being here and kicking off the series. The Great Outdoors Foundation, like many nonprofit organizations, has a board that is super diverse with a lot of different backgrounds and perspectives, professional experience. So I'm curious, what motivated you personally to get involved with the Great Outdoors Foundation?
Well, that goes back a little bit in time for me. I guess when I introduced myself, I forgot that I served about 6 years as president of the Greater Des Moines Partnership. Yeah. And during that time, the whole nitrate level problem arose across this state, and there was a lot of debate and finger pointing going on, not a lot of positive discussion and understanding going on. So the partnership, along with some other organizations, formed a coalition, try to get people in one room at least to talk to each other and listen to each other. And so that started my interest in conservation and water quality. And then the other one is more personal, because I grew up in Northeast Iowa. And there's a place there called Backbone State Park where I used to go swim as a kid. And I read one day in the paper that it was closed because you couldn't swim in Backbone State Park. The water quality was so poor. So that's kind of what motivated me to get involved. And how do you say no to Hannah?
That's right. Yes. It's nearly impossible. That's a good reason.
No doubt.
How about you, Chris?
Well, I kind of fell into it. Joe Corfitz, who was Unity Point's CFO at the time, was getting ready to retire. He was the finance chair for the board, And Joe and I had interacted over the years, and he trusted my financial acumen. So he asked if I wouldn't mind stepping into the role that he was vacating with the Great Outdoors Foundation. I didn't know a ton about the organization at the time, and if you've listened to me previously on this podcast, you know I thought it was a pheasant hunters group. But it's one of those things, if you can get to a place of yes, you'll be so surprised with the potential outcome in a positive way. And that's been my experience. Getting engaged with the organization has helped me understand some of the issues that you've brought up, Gene, with nitrate levels, and how we as an organization can not only help begin to solve problems like that, but different problems that maybe data centers are experiencing because of their water usage. We are really innovating in that field, and it's great to be a part of an organization that tackles problems that big.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of funny how your friends can rope you into things, and you have no idea what you're even getting yourself into. So building off of that a little bit, tell us a little bit about your personal connection to the great outdoors. What are your favorite outdoor activities or amenities that you enjoy?
Well, I play golf poorly, but I still play.
Yeah.
I fish occasionally. I live on about 25 acres and have a farm pond that's stocked, and so I spend a lot of time in my woods and out by the pond and with the grandkids. So that's all a very good time. So that's part of my connection. And then the other piece of it is what we talked about earlier, as we brought the state of Iowa together, and all the work that's happened over the last 5 or 6 years, both in conservation and recreation when it comes to water quality. And so when we first started this, I thought, really, we're going to do this downtown Des Moines, and it's becoming a reality, and it is a reality. And so those are the things that kind of brought me in.
Yeah, definitely. So Gene is referencing, for those who aren't familiar, Icon Water Trails, with which the Great Outdoors Foundation was a part of. Chris actually sits on that board as well. But it is kind of amazing when you think about what that started off as, and now here, 2 of the 3 whitewater attractions are well under their way in construction. So it's really exciting.
Well, as an anecdote, it kind of reminds me of back when I was mayor, and you go out to West Des Moines, and you go to Georgian Creek Parkway, and it was a gravel road. And I looked at the rivers at the time and thought, that's kind of like the gravel road in West Des Moines, but it'll be a reality, and here we are today.
Yeah. It looks a little bit different out there now, huh? How about you, Chris?
Oh, I'm a motorcycle guy.
Okay.
I've got 6 of them. I need to start culling the herd a little bit here.
Did not know that about you.
Yeah, and 2 of them are on-road, off-road bikes. And some of the greatest joy I get on a motorcycle is riding trails. And I've now got my bike set up to the point I got a fishing pole that compacts to about that long. I don't know, 2 feet, and I got that strapped on along with the tackle box and the whole deal, and I'll take off on a trail and I'll find a place to throw a pole in, and that's really one of the best ways to get away from the hustle and bustle for me. Is just getting on the 2-wheeler and enjoying the outdoors that way. Although I would enjoy being invited to a stock pond one time.
Consider yourself invited.
All right, perfect.
It's a beautiful ride down the Cumming Road, that 13 miles off the interstate. It's a beautiful ride. You can come out there on your motorcycle, and the pond is there, and you'll catch some really nice bass and bluegill.
I don't want to tell on myself, but with one of my road bikes, crotch rocket type thing, Cumming Road is my favorite road. I can get on that. It's not very populated, and
so you know where you're coming.
Yeah, so I can open her up on occasion, but I will make my way down there because a lot of the fishing holes don't have the fish you probably have out at your place. But
I got some pretty good sized bass, and most people catch and release. So I stocked it like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
So there's some pretty good sized fish there.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Okay, so 3 of the Great Outdoors Foundation's values are innovation, collaboration, and stewardship. Is there one of those values that resonates with you the most?
By far, and that's collaboration.
Okay.
Throughout my whole public life, I've talked about regionalism and people getting along and talking to each other, and we're all better together. And this is another great example of the work that's going on, you know, by our organization and what's going on downtown. And it's brought a number of people together. Then the whole nitrate issue has brought special interest groups from all over the state of Iowa and now the Midwest together to talk about this issue. And so to me, it's collaboration.
Definitely. How about you, Chris?
Well, I don't want to minimize the other two, but I agree with Jean. And some of the challenges we have, obviously, are created upstream, and without collaborating with rural Iowa as obviously a central Iowa organization, we aren't going to be able to accomplish much. We've established partnerships with co-ops and lenders that are going to help farmers with incentives to maybe take a opportunity on their farm to clean up the water a little bit before it gets into the riverways. And we feel it's important to have those relationships because the financial incentives are a real necessity to help accomplish what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah, and the topic of water quality really has risen to this sort of just basic general awareness where, you know, Jean, you pointed out several decades ago, it maybe wasn't front of mind for most folks, but, you know, I'm optimistic about the number of organizations and entities that are working on tackling this. And I think, you know, there's no way one individual is going to be able to solve the issue. So it does, almost nothing happens without collaboration. So I think that's it's an important quality to have, and it's something we certainly strive for. So I want to talk a little bit about your perspective on contributing to a board of directors, because both of you have, you know, quite a bit of civic engagement experience. So what does it look like from your perspective to engage in the mission work of the nonprofits that you serve?
I think it's a very delicate role, trying to create a balance of, number one, getting educated.
Yeah.
Because that is one of the first things that happens. It's like when I joined this board, the Outdoor Foundation Board. Like Chris, I didn't know a lot about it. I had to figure out, you know, what's your mission, what are your goals, what are your wishes, what do you want from me? And also then being able to phrase and provide direction in a meaningful way, but not in a demanding way.
Yeah.
And recognizing that you're one member of a board and you have a president or a leader to run that organization. And so that's the balance that you have to create.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Chris?
We all bring experiences and relationships from our everyday life to a board, and we've got to be counted on to be able to leverage those when it's helpful to the organization. I think that's something that's extremely important. And the second part is to advocate and be a cheerleader. The more we can help the community understand some of the issues that we hear about in our engagement with Great Outdoors Foundation, the better off we are in terms of trying to solve those problems going forward.
Yeah, we really rely on the board tremendously because, you know, we have a sphere of influence. You all have spheres of influence, and if we're able to tap into those and utilize the relationships and connections and opportunities that you have in front of you, it's a huge piece of, I think, what has made us successful over the last 30 years. What about, this is maybe the more nitty gritty side of the nonprofit, but, you know, as the board of directors, you're responsible for the governance of the organization. So what does that look like? How do you balance, Jean, you kind of touched on this, but you feel this obligation and responsibility to the organization and also recognize that you're entrusting the staff with the day-to-day work. So how do you, maybe as chair, how do you strike that balance?
Well, I think once you get long in the tooth, maybe, and you've experienced different facets of engagement with the civic organizations, you do develop an understanding. And we are an oversight board. Hannah is obviously the CEO of Great Outdoors Foundation.
Yeah.
And Hannah needs to have the freedom to do her job and rely on the board where necessary. We will provide, I think it's our perspective to provide big picture thoughts that then she can decide if they're important to the organization or not. And I think she surrounded herself with people that she trusts. So more often than not, our input is valuable. But again, the board is only as good as the leader of the organization. And Hannah does an excellent job and has hired an excellent team. And that's why I think it's so exciting to be part of Great Outdoors currently. Is the future is so bright, and you can't do it without a great team. And I look at my own organization, same thing. I can't do what I do if I don't have great people working for me. And that's the way I feel about Great Outdoors and being part of the board. This is just hitting on all cylinders right now.
Yeah.
I guess I'd only add one thing, and that is that we started this conversation talking about the board and then people that are on the board, and they bring different expertise. So I think one of the responsibilities of the board is to look at the organization and make sure that those things, like whether it be human resource issues, capital issues, infrastructure issues, all the things that go into running an organization successfully, are all working on all cylinders. And I think that's kind of an oversight responsibility of the board.
Yeah, it really is such an extension of the organization itself to be able to have, about a dozen different members with expertise in different areas. Jean, I think you have served on our development committee before, and Chris, you have led the finance committee, and, you're able to bring that technical, professional expertise and provide, advice, recommendations to staff, which is, so critical. What would be your recommendation to maybe a leader at a nonprofit who is looking to build out the roster of their board, or maybe is struggling to build the trust that you have kind of alluded to, Chris?
I always begin with finding people for a passion for the organization. That is first and foremost. Those will be the best board members. And the best boards then lay out the different areas of expertise that are going to be important to their board, and then start identifying potential board members that fill that level of expertise that they're seeking out. And when an organization can do that, they step back, look big picture, this is what we have to cover, and then start finding passionate people to fill those roles. It works out really well for them.
Yeah.
I guess I would just add, I'd be looking for people who have a strong interest in what the nonprofit is doing, that are willing to take the time and have the time to participate at least a good level in the organization. And then if you're the CEO, I'm looking at my board at the different types of expertise I have sitting around the room, and if I feel like I'm lacking someplace, I would try to find someone to fill that role.
Yeah, absolutely. You utilize the board to kind of fill in those blind spots, or maybe, before you're able to invest in a role on staff in that capacity. Yeah, I think that's really sound advice. Okay, now on the flip side, for folks who are wanting to get engaged civically, either on a board or in another volunteer position at a nonprofit, what's your recommendation there? How did you guys get started?
Well, I guess it just kind of happened naturally, especially from the school board days and the mayor days, more so than the director of the State's Criminal Investigation Bureau.
They weren't knocking on your door saying, no, "Gene, we want you."
No, not necessarily. They were saying, "Why are you here?" Or "Why are your agents here?"
We're in trouble, yeah.
So it's just I got started from people just talking to me saying, you're engaged in the community at this level, you ought to consider stepping up to a different level. And so it just kind of snowballed and built upon itself.
Yeah. Yeah. What, when you had all of those opportunities, were there certain characteristics about organizations that made them more appealing to you? Or were you kind of like, you know what, I really love this community. I'm going to say yes to all of the opportunities that come my way?
Well, you never can do that. And I would always look for things that there was a mutual interest. You know, whatever that nonprofit was doing, did it meet with the kinds of things that were of interest to me? Because I had so many different opportunities to give of my time. You have to balance those things. So you want to make sure you're spending your time where you're enjoying yourself and having fun.
Yeah, that's great advice. You, Chris?
Let's just say I've really lived. I'm a survivor of cancer from way back when, and that got me engaged in the American Cancer Society at a really young age in my professional career. But the more you're involved in the community, whether work or personal, the more interactions you have, things come up. My oldest child is special needs child, and I'm on the Easter Seals board as a result of a conversation I had with somebody 10 years ago. And once they knew I had a child that was in that category, they knew I had a passion for the cause. And it kind of just snowballs from there.
Yeah.
But I break mine into, I have work things that are important for me to be involved with. Then I got personal passions that are important for me to be involved with. So, and I think you got to cover both to be well-rounded.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and it really becomes this symbiotic relationship where, you know, your cup is being filled by advancing a mission that you are passionate about, and the organization itself is benefiting from your expertise and your perspective. So I think that really is the beauty of philanthropy in the nonprofit sector is really, I think pretty much everyone has the desire to give back to their community. I think it's just a matter of finding the right opportunity to do so. So excellent. Well, anything else you want to add before we jump to our final segment? Let's whiteboard it.
Whiteboarded.
You're going to like this, Gene.
You're going to like this, Gene.
Yeah.
You're an artist, right?
You were tipped off.
Oh, I've done it before.
You've
He's
done it before.
Yeah, not very
Yes.
well, but I did it.
No, I'm not an artist.
Well, we'll find out. On your tables, you each have a whiteboard with a marker. So, Gene, the way that we close out every one of our episodes is we ask an off-the-cuff question that neither of you have seen. Don't worry, it's going to be very easy. But you have the option to either write or draw your response on your whiteboard. So
What are you smiling about?
Fire away.
fire away. Okay. So our Let's Whiteboard It question for today is, what project, initiative, collaboration opportunity have you been most proud of during your time with the Great Outdoors Foundation? And you do get bonus points if you draw. Okay, while Gene and Chris are getting their answers jotted down, just a reminder to like and follow wherever you are listening. Thank you so much for joining as we jump into this second year of the Happy Disruptors podcast. We would be so grateful if you would share this episode with someone you think would benefit from learning more about the nonprofit sector and what it looks like to be a part of a board of directors. And make sure to follow along with what we are doing by subscribing to our newsletter. You can do that at greatoutdoorsfoundation.org or following us on all major social platforms. All right, gentlemen. Are you feeling good? Gene, you want to kick
No.
us off?
Well,
Okay.
you know, the first one I put down was fundraising, because that's what I
Yeah.
did quite a bit of when I first
Yeah.
joined the board.
Absolutely.
And the new bridge out at Raccoon River Park in West Des Moines,
Yes,
and
yeah.
involved in fundraising for that.
Absolutely.
And then, believe it or not, this is a pond.
You nailed it. I
Ripples
knew
on the pond,
exactly.
a little wind,
Yes.
Perfect.
and being involved with water quality issues.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yeah, the pedestrian bridge is
Yes.
just gorgeous.
Isn't it nice?
Yeah, it's beautiful. All right, Chris. how about
All
you?
right. This is what I think is a silo, in my
Yes,
opinion.
yeah,
With a little
absolutely.
river by it. But
Okay.
being involved in the ground floor of the relationship between a bank and the co-ops, where we're trying to establish a system incentivizing rural Iowa to maybe farm a little differently that helps the runoff from their fields. And this is a real innovation. And if it works in Iowa, it's probably going to work in a lot of different places. And I think it's just a wonderful opportunity to showcase what Great Outdoors Foundation is capable of if we're able to pull this off. But very early stages, but
absolutely
high hopes.
Yeah, we're excited to share more about that initiative that Chris is referencing, and just really looking at how, again, going back to the collaboration, how the Great Outdoors Foundation can play a part in solving some of those challenges that prevent conservation from happening at the pace and scale that we need it to. So love all of that, and thank you both for being on the board. Thank you for being here for this episode, and thank you for listening. We will see you next time.